Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Today I'm going to be doing a little look back at my top anticipated games of 2022. Looking back now, basically a year ago, and seeing which of these got played, which ones I actually ended up liking or not liking, which ones even came out in the year that they were anticipated to drop. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'll tell you what I think of them. Again, if they came out, I'll let you know what's going on in here, what's rattling around. We're kicking it off with number 10 is Verdant, which I backed on Kickstarter. Got this year. They're pretty good about delivering, that company. And I did enjoy. I think Verdant's a nice little game. It's about what I expected it to be, which is pleasant, attractive, something kind of in line with their other games like Cascadia and Calico. I'm not a big fan of Calico, but and I've really cooled on that game overall, actually. I thought it was okay, and I kind of enjoyed it when I first played it and cooled on it very quickly. Cascadia is great, and Verdant here I think is not as good as Cascadia. I think so far that's their best game, that publisher slash sort of group of designers. But Verdant is a solid game. The components are very good. The game was inexpensive. I remember, like I said, backing on it. I think it's like the price is $29 or something like that. So it's very affordable. And I've enjoyed it. It's one I've still got. I think I'll be keeping it at least for a while, for a few years maybe. So no issues there. That one turned out to be a good call. My number 9 is Gartenbau. Gartenbau is another Kickstarter, which I also backed, which also got delivered, though I think they were a little bit later than when they were supposed to be, and I haven't played it yet. I've got it. I haven't given it a go yet. Now, to be fair, I had played a prototype of it, which is what pushed me towards backing it. So it's one I suspect, upon revisiting it now, about a year after I played that prototype, I suspect I'll like it. So I'm expecting to enjoy it, but I haven't really tried the final version of the game yet. A final printing with all the bells and whistles, right? I like the theme of this one. It's a bit like Verdant, actually, but sort of a period look to it. And it's a lot more tile laying, sort of, layering things on top of one another, covering specific flowers and trying to make combos and all of that. It's one that fired parts of my brain that I enjoyed messing around with, the spatial aspect, the relationship between things. So again, I'm expecting I'll enjoy it when I finally play it, but haven't done that. Number 8 is Age of Rome, and it hasn't come out yet. This is one we played live, a prototype of, did a preview play of it. And I honestly forget if I put it on the list before or after we did that. Having played it, I enjoyed it, and I'm still looking forward to it. I remember when I first saw it, and I think I must have made this list before we played it, because it was very lofty heights. I remember playing it and thinking, there's maybe too much going on in the game. There's a lot of little rules. I perhaps personally would have trimmed some of these things out and may either relegated them to expansion content, maybe modular content, But I'm still excited for it. It's an engaging game. I remember enjoying my play of it, just being a little sort of distracted by how much was going on that maybe didn't need to be going on. My number 7 is Marvel Dice Throne. Backed it, came out, really enjoyed this one. Now, I'm not the biggest Dice Throne fan in the office here by far, but I do enjoy it. I have a hard time reconciling two things that I find to be at odds in the Dice Throne games. They are very lighthearted. They seem like they want to be playful and rambunctious and chuck some dice and woo-hoo-hoo, see what happens. And then they have the rules structure of a trading card game, which are very rigorous, which are very specific, which have a lot of keywords and feel formal. So I find those two feelings clash for me a little bit, okay? Having said that, I enjoy it. I'm keeping my set for sure. It's a beautiful production. Has all the Marvel characters in there. They made 8, so I backed it. So I got the nice deluxe box that has them all in there, and I've enjoyed it. This is one I've been playing. I've been enjoying. I really had a good time exploring the different characters. It's my only dice thrown thing so far, and it'll probably continue to be my only dice thrown thing, in the future. I was very tempted by Santa versus Krampus. That was a good set, but I ended up not, taking the plunge on that one. Maybe if they come up with more Marvel dice thrown in the future, I might, get some of that. Number 6 is Yoke, City of Crime. This did not come out. Haven't heard anything about it. It was a cool looking game that seemed to have a really neat vibe going on. And that's about as far as that went. This is one that I haven't heard anything else about. Hasn't come out. Don't really know anything about it. Moving on. My number 5 was Tenpenny Parks. Tenpenny Parks, I really enjoyed. This year it came out. It made I believe it made my top 10 of the year. It wasn't near the top, but it was in there. So this was a solid call. I mean, the artwork was beautiful, and that came through when I played the physical game. The idea of building a park really worked out for me in this one. It was a game that had one weird quirk in it, and that is that it felt too short at first play. Like when you first tried it out, you were like, oh, the game's about to be over. I feel like I haven't really done enough. This is wrapping up already. What is sand falling through my fingers here? But the more I've played it, I've come to grips with that feeling and realized how important every single one of your actions really is. How important some of the ideas in the game, like advertising your rides, i.e. buying points with money, how important that is. And it's grown in my estimation. So Tenpenny Parks, solid game. Next up, at number 4, I had First Empires. Another one that came out this year that I enjoyed. Beautiful production. Nice follow-up for the company. This is their second production following Res Arcana. This was the publisher of Res Arcana, one of my favorites. And this was their second game. Didn't quite reach the lofty heights of Res Arcana for me, but I enjoyed it. It is one that I kept for a while and did let go. It's one that I think I enjoyed, and I like this designer's minimalistic sort of games are a little tricky for me. They're a little hit or miss for me. This is one of his better ones, I would say. Lovely look. It kind of looks like a Days of Wonder production. It has that gorgeous artwork, beautiful components. But it is one that's a little bit of a quirky game. It's not what you expect it to be, and that's all right. So I recommend it still if you are someone who enjoys the idea of these sort of, epic clash on a map kind of games, but you just like the idea of it. You don't want them to be drawn out. You don't want it to be too much overhead. This is a simple game. Again, I let it go because I think it's not going to hit the table too much for me personally. Now, number 3 is Resurgence, which is out, or at least we have a copy here in the office, but I haven't played it yet. And I kind of blame Mike DeLisio for that, but really it's my fault. I need to get this game played. Mike is also one who was expecting it, and we haven't been able to play it yet. I'm looking forward to that. I think this is one I'm going to like. I've been able to quickly sort of browse through the rulebook a little bit, look at the components. It looks like a solid, engaging Euro-style game. Very interesting worker placement stuff going on in there. Right now, of the ones that haven't come out, and this is the last one, Age of Rome, Yoke, City of Crime, and Resurgence. I should say haven't come out. I should say the ones I haven't played. This is the one I'm most looking forward to still, so that makes sense that it's the highest. This will get to the table soon with me, so we'll see. Number 2, Trekking Through History. Fantastic. I backed this one like some of the other ones here. Got it. They deliver very well. This company, Underdog, they're really on the ball with their productions, with their communication on their Kickstarters, with their deliveries. I do believe this was the final Kickstarter for them. They've moved on to just putting out games now into distribution. And I think this was a great, great home run for the company. One game I reviewed this year and rated very highly. Lovely theme, incredible production, easy to get into, but one that's going to adjust to a group that wants to play something very light and a group that wants to slow it down a little bit and think through some math, figure out some best paths forward. So really enjoyed it. Number 2, Trekking Through History. And then lastly, my number 1, and a game that I just reviewed not too long ago, in fact, Lands of Galzyr. Lands of Galzyr turned out to be everything I wanted it to be, just about. You know, I was hoping for a game that was story-driven game, but that packed away well, that retained some, you know, story from one game to the next, that did kind of what Seventh Continent does, kind of what Sleeping Gods does, but that packed away and had a quote-unquote save system that was a little bit better than those games. I think it does. I think it managed to pull that off. Now, I'm not saying it completely replaces something like Sleeping Gods. I like the world of Sleeping Gods better than this world. I probably even like the storytelling a little more than I like the storytelling in Lands of Galzyr. But this one is so punchy. It's so easy to set it up and get going and read a fun story and do some neat dice checks. And then in about an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes, you finished your tale, you pack it up, the world has changed a little bit due to your actions, and when you come back next time, there's the world waiting for you. Maybe you have some companions who you dragged along from your last adventure. All of these things that are persistent in your box. Really, really neat game. A very distinct, a unique game that shines this year. And I'm glad I had it at my number 1. It turned out to be a good call. So there you go, everybody. That is my top anticipated games from 2022. Revisit it. It was a good year. It was a good list. I think this one was pretty solid. I had a good track record for picking games that I ended up liking. Actually, none of these were games I picked that then when I played, I was like, no, ended up not liking it. None of them, of the ones I played. And most of them came out and are available. So pretty solid overall. So there we go, everybody. Thanks very much for tuning in and checking this out with me. Let me know in the comments below here if you agree or disagree with any of these. Any of these came out, you tried them, and you were like, ended up not being for me. Or if there's any you're still waiting on, like I'm waiting on this Age of Rome game, the Yoke game, and Resurgence, which is just out there mocking me right now, I bet. So there we go. My name is Z Garcia. Thanks very much again. I'll see you on the next one.